So welcome to the exhibition. As you can see, the posters in the window, and I'm just going to go into the building. And so if you follow the pathway up and into Coral Street Art Space, you'll first go past the Aboriginal Arts Centre for Victor Harbour, and we're going around the corner and into the exhibition itself. So past Bailey, your welcome committee will be there. And the first thing I want you to take note of is a self-portrait. This is based on a propaganda portrait done by Jacques-Louis David for Napoleon I, and this is meant to be a bit of a joke portrait. Some of the details of it are that the throne has been converted into a throne of Labor values, with the state government symbols on the left-hand side under the arm, and then if you have a look at the necklace of my self-portrait, you'll see it says "fuck hate." In the middle of the necklace is my union badge for the Australian Services Union, and below it the Star Trek badge, because, being a bit of a Trekkie, religion hasn't been fantastic for me. So on the right-hand side, you'll see that there's the bent religious depiction, and on my left hand, you see the gay marriage symbol. And it's barefoot because you're not supposed to really show people of importance with bare feet. So that's my version of David's portrait of Napoleon, and mine's called The Emperor in His Pyjamas. And also you can see Zoe, who's now dead, on the right-hand side of the picture as well. So this exhibition, Borrowed Time, is really about climate change and also Carriclinga North. In South Australia. So once you've gone past my self-portrait, what I'm hoping that you'll see is that this is an exhibition of where I live and some of the issues that are starting to appear from climate change. I mean, the zone of Carriclinga is beautiful, and it's still, pretty untouched by climate change, but there are subtle signs of things are changing. So subtle signs of change are that the coast itself is not recovering from storms as quite the same degree as it used to. So whereas it might have taken, hypothetically, 2 weeks for a storm to recovery, for sand dunes and beach to recover, it's taking 1 or 2 days later. And that slowly is starting to have an impact. It means that things are just deteriorating slightly. This is a map of Carriclinga North, and it's the feature of artwork of the exhibition. It's on linen, and it's acrylic paint that has been applied. The image itself is a abstracted map of Carriclinga North, and I'll explain to you how it works. It's based on a Japanese tradition where you're going through space, but not necessarily geography. So on the top of the map, you've got one of the rock bluffs of Carriclinga North Beach, and that's the north side. And down the bottom, you've got another rock bluff, and this is the south side of Carriclinga North. So if we take it from the right-hand side of the picture, this is our house within Carriclinga North. And if you follow a pathway from our house, you'll end up at the beach. So the beach is where the impact of climate change will be most observant, because of the sand will become less able to recover after storms. To the side of the beach, you've got the sand dunes and then the housing. And these are referencing Japanese washi patterns. On the left-hand side of the beach, you've got the ocean, of course. And again, there's washi patterns to reference that as well. The goal is framing the map. And so that's the map, the feature artwork of the exhibition. There's a different version of the same image, or same theme, which is done in pen. Now, both of these images comprise of tiny little circles. So again, you've got my house. You follow the path to the red zone, which is the beach. And to the right is the sand dunes and the housing. and then to the left is the ocean. If you have a look, the entire map of both images is made of tiny circles. So there's hundreds of thousands of circles. This takes hours and hours, if not months, to do. It's quite brain-numbing. This is meant to be an introduction to the space. So you've gone past my image of myself as a joke. We've gone to the maps to reference the place where we're talking about, and now we're going to Carrickinga North itself. This image is made of 16 panels of watercolour paper. It's drawn with acrylic inks using a quill pen, and it's made up of parallel lines. It's of rocks on the north beach of Carrickinga. The rocks on the beach at Carrickinga will phosphorus to a fluorescent yellow or orange in summer, and in winter they'll go to a slate grey. So this one is the transition from winter to summer as the rocks fluoresce into a yellow hue. This area is probably not going to be as badly impacted by climate change because it's already a rock face, but the recovery of the sand near it will be impacted, and the ability to enjoy the space will probably become less enjoyable because of the wave agitation, and the climate will make it less appealing to actually be in this space. If we're zeroing on the image itself, as you can see, it's made up of thousands, if not millions, of parallel lines of quill pen applied ink. And so when you look closely, it actually has no definition, but from a distance, what I'm hoping is that you'll get the image will reveal itself. If we follow around to where the exhibition is supposed to progress to, one of the first pictures is of the foundry on Carrickinga North Beach, and this is where people will deposit things that they find on the beach for return, and it's a community thing. And the reason why I've included this is as climate change takes hold, sea debris will become more of an issue because as houses become impacted, they will be ruined and they become rubbish. So things like this community thing of returning items to the owner become less appealing because the beach becomes covered in rubbish. So a relatively pristine beach like Carrickinga North becomes a dumping zone. This particular image is made on watercolour paper again, but it's ink drawn, so black ink, and then overlaid with a aqua blue paint. And the image is meant to have a sort of like a patina of Japanese lacquer. It's also meant to have a cameo appeal to it as well. To the right of that image, we go to a similar image, similarly constructed drawing, and this drawing is of the rocks of Carrickinga North. The Carrickinga North rocks will become less appealing for people to actually visit because a 5 centimetre sea rise will cause a 50% increase in wave agitation. That will mean that the rocks themselves will not be able to be visited because the beach will disappear. So this is again on watercolour paper, and you can see it's black ink that has been painted over with an aqua blue, and again it's intended to give a phosphorus lacquer look. Ideally, both of these images should be framed behind museum-grade glass and to ensure their longevity. To the right-hand side of that image, we go to an image called Solitude, and this is, again, an image drawn on watercolour paper with ink that has been overlaid with paint, and the paint in this one is a metallic blue and also gold. The reason why this image has been included is that the beach on Carrickinga North has a couple of vistas that contain benches where people can sit and contemplate what's going on. But as climate change kicks in, these little isolated spots for contemplation and solitude become less appealing because the beach will disappear and the wind will increase because of as the sea warms, the climate will become a little less stable from time to time, and so you have storm activity will increase. Again to the right, this is another drawing of the foundry at Carriclinga at a different time of year. So this is done in a high season, tourist season. And as you can see, it's used a bit more where items are trying to be returned. The image itself is drawn on watercolour paper. It's graphite, but it's parallel lines of graphite that are drawn with different heaviness of application, so that you get a texture. So at close it looks a bit scratchy, but hopefully from a distance it looks almost photographic. And again, this is included because of, as climate change kicks in, the amount of sea rubbish will increase from houses being destroyed, and things like this become obsolete because the beach becomes an unfriendly place due to all the rubbish. I'm going to skip an artwork and come back to it. This is another graphite drawing, and this is the graphite drawing of the rocks at Carriclinga North. Again, you can see the graphite applied in parallel lines with different heaviness applied to give a tonal and textural impact. It's 16 panels. It's intended to be installed as we see here. So from a close-up, it's probably more abstract, and then from a distance it becomes more clear. And it's deliberately intended to be subtle. It's not intended to pop out and be loud. It's meant to shrink. And part of the reason for that is that the rocks at Carriclinga can be quite subtle. Even in the wintertime, they turn to a slate grey, so they dephosphorus, and you lose that orange and yellow, and they become a slate grey, and it all becomes a tonal landscape. Going back to the drawing that we missed, this is a quill pen applied ink drawing on 8 panels of a musk lorikeet in a flowering gum. And one of the things of climate change is that it will affect vegetation. Gums have a seasonal flowering range. That season is shifting, and you can already document how the changing seasons timescales is impacting bird life. The time between when the flowers blossom and nectar is available is moving further away from the time needed for hatchlings to be able to rear themselves and to become adults before the dry season. This image is, again, parallel lines of ink applied with quill pen. And then, so at close range it has no particular image, but from a distance it makes up an image. And then another image of a similar vein is one of a galah. Again, parallel lines that then, when viewed from a distance, become an image. And the reason why I included a galah is that galahs are hardy animals, but as climate change kicks in, you'll find that even these hardy birds will find it hard to manage the difference in seasons. They can manage drought, but they can't manage drought successively. So that's my exhibition. You're welcome to come along. It's running until the 25th of September. And so come to Coral Street Art Space in Victor Harbour, and that's 10 Coral Street. And we'll speak to you soon. Bye.